Also known as the winged humanoid, the Mothman is a mysterious creature from American urban legend. According to reports, it stands around 7 feet tall with a wingspan exceeding 10 feet. It flies at incredible speed and has a humanoid body covered in dark fur. Witnesses often describe it as having no visible head, with two massive glowing red eyes positioned directly on its chest, making it resemble some kind of giant insect-like creature. The first known Mothman sighting took place in the state of West Virginia. On November 12, 1966, several men were working in a cemetery near Clendenin when they suddenly saw a large brown winged creature rise from a nearby tree. Although the sighting lasted only a short time, the witnesses insisted that what they saw was not a bird, but a humanoid creature. Just 3 days later, on November 15th, another encounter occurred in the TNT Area. The TNT Area refers to the abandoned military-industrial zone north of Point Pleasant. During World War II, the site was used to manufacture explosives and ammunition, leaving the surrounding land heavily contaminated with chemicals. Around midnight, two young couples were driving past an old power plant when they noticed two glowing red eyes beside the road and heard a horrifying scream. The group stopped to investigate and discovered a humanoid creature roughly 7 feet tall with folded wings on its back. Terrified, they immediately sped away toward town. Once they calmed down, the group began wondering if poor lighting conditions had distorted what they saw. Hoping to face their fears and confirm the truth, they decided to drive back to the TNT Area. But before long, they saw the creature again standing near Route 62. At that moment, they realized this was definitely not a bird. When the headlights hit the creature, it suddenly launched into the air and flew away at incredible speed. The witnesses rushed back to town and immediately reported the encounter to local police. 2 hours later, officers searched the area but found nothing. The following day, local newspapers rapidly spread news about a giant winged humanoid appearing in the TNT Area. Influenced by the popularity of Batman comics at the time, reporters gave the creature the nickname Mothman. Over the next year, more than 100 sightings were reportedly recorded around Point Pleasant. Yet despite the massive number of reports, nobody managed to capture clear photographic evidence. Then came the tragedy that would forever connect the Mothman legend to disaster. The Silver Bridge was completed in 1928 and connected West Virginia to Ohio across the Ohio River. Because of its metallic silver appearance, it became known as the Silver Bridge. On December 15, 1967, the bridge suddenly collapsed during heavy traffic. 31 vehicles plunged into the freezing river below. 46 people died, 9 were seriously injured, and 2 victims were never found. According to later rumors, multiple witnesses claimed they had seen a giant winged humanoid flying near the bridge shortly before the disaster. Even stranger, after the Silver Bridge collapsed, Mothman sightings around Point Pleasant almost completely stopped. But from that point forward, similar sightings began appearing around the world. In 1978, before a mining disaster in Freiburg, Germany, several miners reportedly saw a tall, dark humanoid with wings standing near the entrance of a mine. The creature emitted a terrifying screech before flying away. Frightened by the encounter, the miners refused to enter the mine. The following day, the mine collapsed. Then came reports connected to the 1986 Chernobyl disaster, where some claimed a giant gray-winged creature had been seen flying above the reactor before the explosion. Similar stories later appeared around the 1999 Russian apartment bombings, the September 11 attacks in 2001, and even before the 2011 Japanese earthquake and Fukushima nuclear disaster. Between 2011 and 2017, sightings surged again, especially around Chicago, where dozens of people claimed to have seen a red-eyed flying humanoid. Because so many sightings seemed connected to tragedy, fear, and death, many people began believing the Mothman was some kind of omen, a creature that appears before disasters strike. But does such a creature really exist? Some researchers believe the Mothman may simply be a large bird misidentified under stressful conditions. Wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith from West Virginia University suggested the creature may have been a sandhill crane. Sandhill crane can grow nearly as tall as a human, possess wingspans over 7 feet, and have reddish skin around their eyes. This theory first appeared in a 1966 newspaper article and remains one of the most widely accepted explanations today. Others believe the heavy chemical contamination in the TNT area may have caused unusual mutations in local wildlife. Paranormal investigator Joe Nickel argued that the sightings could have involved large owls with the glowing red eyes simply caused by reflected light. However, most witnesses rejected these explanations. They insisted they had not seen a bird, they had seen something humanoid. Another theory links the Mothman to Native American mythology. Some believe the creature resembles the white eagle spirit from Shawnee legends. According to one story, a man named Wapiti married the daughter of a star spirit. Eventually, the family transformed into white eagles and disappeared into the wilderness. Locals later speculated that the winged creature seen around Point Pleasant may have been connected to these legends. Still, many people found this explanation too romanticized to be convincing. The most mysterious theory claims Mothman is an extraterrestrial or supernatural being capable of predicting future disasters. This idea became extremely popular after the Silver Bridge collapse. But in reality, investigations later showed the bridge collapsed because of structural flaws combined with years of poor maintenance. The connection between the Mothman and the disaster was largely popularized by paranormal writer John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies. In the book, Keel described UFO sightings, men in black encounters, and the idea that the Mothman had predicted the collapse of the Silver Bridge. However, there has never been concrete evidence supporting these claims. Many famous Mothman photos later turned out to be hoaxes, edited images, or simple misunderstandings. One well-known photograph, supposedly showing the creature near a bridge, was eventually revealed to be nothing more than a loose piece of metal photographed at an odd angle. It's also worth mentioning that the Mothman Prophecies was adapted into a movie in 2002, helping spread the legend worldwide. Personally, I think there is a possibility that the Mothman sightings were based on a real creature, but probably not in the supernatural way people imagine. I believe it was most likely some kind of large bird. Over time, the original sightings were exaggerated again and again by media coverage, paranormal speculation, and internet storytelling, making the legend far more mysterious than it may have originally been. While researching this topic, I also found many online claims suggesting Mothman-like sightings happened in China as early as 1926. Some stories involved children seeing strange creatures near cemeteries, while others claimed winged humanoids appeared before dam collapses. But despite extensive searching, I could not find reliable evidence supporting these stories. Many modern retellings appear heavily exaggerated or entirely fabricated. Another rumor claims that many Point Pleasant witnesses later suffered mental illness or mysterious deaths, supposedly covered up by government agencies. But this also appears false. One of the original witnesses, Linda Scarberry, gave multiple interviews throughout her life and lived until 2011. The other witnesses also continued living normal lives. If media exaggeration in some countries became this extreme, it's easy to imagine how sensationalized the story became internationally. And interestingly, many of the disasters associated with Mothman were ultimately caused by human mistakes, environmental destruction, or engineering failures. Perhaps instead of blaming mysterious creatures, we should spend more time reflecting on our own actions. Today, regardless of whether the Mothman is real, the creature has become a major part of modern pop culture. Its image appears constantly in movies, games, TV shows, and paranormal documentaries. After the release of the Mothman Prophecies film in 2002, tourism in Point Pleasant exploded. Later that same year, the town held its very first Mothman Festival. In 2003, sculptor Bob Roach created a massive 12-foot-tall Mothman statue for the town. Then in 2005, the Mothman Museum opened directly across from the statue. Today, thousands of visitors travel there every September. At this point, whether the Mothman truly exists almost seems unimportant to the people of Point Pleasant. And honestly, maybe it's better that way. Sometimes the mystery itself is what keeps a legend alive. After all, the unknown will always be greater than the known. And that is exactly what makes humor so fascinating. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.